Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are talking about the spell Blinding Smite. I've got the Legacy version up here right now. We are going to look at this spell. We're going to compare it and contrast it to the 2024 version because there are some pretty significant changes in the 2024 version. We're going to give it a new grade. And we're going to talk about its interaction with some of the new, because it's a melee weapon attack. We're going to talk about its interaction with some of the new weapon masteries and the new paladin and possibly some other class interactions. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see anything without my glasses. Originally, so I am looking at the screen right here. The camera is above me, and I'm going to look at another screen over here, so you're going to see me turn my head. And originally, I gave this a B+. I'm actually going to lower this down to a B-. I don't think, now that I look at this spell a little bit more, I don't think that I should have given it a B+. I think it more or less deserved a B-. For one specific thing, let's go over the spell first. So it's a third level spell. It's bonus action, self, range, verbal component, usable only by paladins. There are ways to get spells other than the classes that are down there. It lasts for a duration. It was concentration. That's a strike against it. So the next time you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack during the spell's duration, so you cast the spell as a bonus action, and then for 1 minute, you could use the spell and then it would trigger it. The weapon flares. It deals extra damage, 3d8 extra radiant damage. Additionally, the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be blinded. So that is the other strike I have against this spell, is that it doesn't just blind them on a hit. You hit them, you do extra damage, and then there's another step, which is they have to make a Constitution saving throw. And Constitution saves are generally, for opponents, pretty easy to make. Then finally, a creature blinded by this spell makes another Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a successful save, it is no longer blinded. Blinded was a terrible condition, and it still is a terrible condition to be in. You don't, for players, you want to blind your opponent. For to be blinded, you do not want to be blinded. Okay, so let's look at the 2024 version and compare and contrast. Still a third level spell. Still a bonus action. However, there's an asterisk next to that, meaning you take the bonus action immediately after hitting a creature with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike. So this required a melee weapon attack. This requires an unarmed strike or a melee weapon. So that is pretty cool. Monk paladins are a thing. So when you hit, they take the 3d8 extra damage, and they're blinded immediately. This spell lasts for a minute, and there is no concentration on it. So they took the concentration away. The blinded condition happens automatically when you hit, and it can be done with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike. So then at the end of each of its turns, the blinded target can make a Constitution saving throw, ending the spell. So they're going to be blinded for at least one turn. At least one turn. You could upcast this spell to do extra damage. The previous one you could not upcast at all. So there's another thing they added, is upcasting to do extra damage. Now, this is a third level spell for a paladin. And let's look at the paladin. That means that you can't actually cast this spell until 9th level. That's pretty high of a level. So you're not going to be, and the highest level spell that you can cast is a 5th level spell. So you're not going to be casting this at a super high level. You could do 5d8 radiant damage, extra damage on this as a bonus action. Now with the paladin, we still get the smite ability, Paladin Smite. You always have Divine Smite prepared. So in addition, you can cast it without expending a spell slot, but you must finish a long rest before you can do it again. So they changed the smite. So if you recall, the smite on a paladin was an automatic thing. You just burned spell slots, now you have to actually cast a spell, which is a bonus action. So you can't use this spell and Blinding Smite at the same time. So this kind of replaces that, and I think that's why they put the higher spell slot thing into it, because Divine Smite as the spell also goes up. It's a first level, and it does 2d8 extra radiant damage, 3d8 if it's a fiend or an undead. And we've already gone over this. The spell increases by a d8 for each spell level above 1. So I do like this spell a lot, just because they've added so many extra things. They took away the concentration. They added an upcast. It automatically blinds. And they added unarmed strike. So I am going to give this spell, I'm going to take it from a B- up to a B+, because blinding is a terrible condition. There it is right there. They can't see. They automatically fail on any ability check that requires sight. Attack rolls against them have advantage, and their attack rolls have disadvantage. So what now, given that the Paladin can use any martial weapon, and they get to add, because it says right here, Weapon Mastery. Your training with weapons allows you to use Weapon Mastery of 2 kinds of weapons of your choice with which you have proficiency. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change the kinds of weapons you chose. For example, you could switch. Okay, so which weapons do I think probably would be the best for this? So we've got the sap, which comes with a number of different weapons, and that is the creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll. But if you're using Blinding Smite with this as part of a build, they're going to have disadvantage anyway. So that's probably not a great one. Warhammer has push. This is probably one of the better ones. So if you hit a creature with this weapon, you can push the creature 10 feet away from yourself if it is large or smaller. So now you've hit them. You expend your bonus action, you cast Blinding Smite, they are blinded automatically, and then you push them. No save, you just push them. And now they're blinded and they're 10 feet away, they don't know where you are. That makes it even better. There's Topple. You hit a creature with this weapon, you can force the creature to make a con saving throw, or it falls prone. That's not as good as push, but it's almost as good. There is a con saving throw in that. So a trident, there are a couple of different options with that. The maul, the trident, the lance. Then there is Vex with like a short sword or a rapier or that's basically it. If you hit this creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll. Again, you're going to have that anyway because they're blinded, so it doesn't matter. There is Nick with the scimitar. When you make an extra attack with the light property, you can make it as part of an attack instead of as part of a bonus action. That actually might not be too bad, because with this you've used your bonus action. I still think that push is probably the best one. Pikes also push. Morning Stars do the sap, which isn't awesome. Mauls do the topple. There's a sap with a longsword. Lances, which go perfectly with a paladin. That's a topple. Then there's cleave. You hit a creature with a melee attack roll using this weapon, you can make a melee attack roll with the weapon against the second creature within 5 feet. You can't add your bonus to that. There's graze. If you attack with this weapon and miss, you deal damage. That's not great either. And that's basically it. I like the push the most. So I would say if I were going to build a paladin around this spell, I would take the Warhammer or the pike, or we don't really have, or a great club. There is a great club option as well for the push. Now, the only other class that I think of that can actually decently go with the paladin is the Hexblade, but you need to be a pretty high-level paladin to get this. But really, for the Hexblade, I think the things that you want here are the Hexblade's Curse. So you get a bonus to the damage. You can crit on a 19 or 20, and then you get some hit points if they go down. And you could make your weapon your hex weapon and all that. You just need a couple of levels in this, and then you take the rest in Paladin, and then you got it. So All in all, again, I give this spell a B plus now. I think it's good, particularly when it is paired up with these nice 2024 weapon mastery builds and some of the stuff that comes along with the Paladin. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.